What's up, War Nation? It's Ominous back with another video for you. Still doing the tower content. I want to do some dungeon stuff as well, but I wanted to get a Chain Shield Disciple of Finesse build out there, and I didn't like my first video, so I did this maybe an hour ago. My gear for this is Celestial Axe with 4 Prometheus feet and 1 Selene hand. We're in a Briny Pendant, Yimmervricha Charm, and then I've got Fey Yeti Horns, Arisen Pumpkinless Armor, and Greaves of Dynasty with the Kern's Tower, or it's what I name my Spiked Great Shield. All bristles, Linkus bristles in the 3 armor slots, and then the shield has Jewels of Creation. So super excited about this. Also, my Amity is hybrid damage because I don't know, maybe that's not the best one for this. Maybe that's something I need to shift out, but that's what I'm wearing for the video at the moment, for better or worse. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. I'm doing this on Gilgamesh Hercules. Get the damage up there, but really wanted to experiment with the combination of Chain Shield and a lot of collateral damage. Get double attack up right away. That's about the best that you could possibly ask for a build like this. That's dream case for sure. And then climbing up the tower, you can see it just kind of swings through stuff really fast. It definitely crushes. You see there, like, oh man, when you get to kill 3 things with your first attack, that's a thing of beauty. Truly a thing of beauty. I love it. Um, the 29 Linkus bristles does give me a 100% proc rate for the collateral damage, which is pretty sweet. It does sacrifice a lot of overall ward because I only have 5 of them that are 2% ward, and so it definitely slows things down. And I kind of glazed over it, but I also got the single attack up from one of my first 2 chests. That's perfect. That you really could not, that is the absolute best way really that you can start one of these towers. Dex up, unfortunately, does not matter that much when you're going the spiky chainy shield. But as you can see, you would probably expect my chain shield damage to be a bit higher, considering that I'm at 100 ascension levels for this. But it's the fact that I'm put in all the bristles that it does take a really significant hit. But I just wanted to see how it would go, and I've been really enjoying a lot of Linkus bristles for PvP, and so I wanted to see what it's like in a little bit more of the PvE content. I'm trying to do some of the earlier floors, skipping lots of stuff. Again, try not to make these videos too long, but you know me, I like to farm the tower shards. For the arcane troll fights, one of the nice things about using the Arisen Pumpkinless chest is not just the bonus hit points, but you do get arcane resistance, so it can make those just a little less dangerous. And I've certainly gone in and done some arcane troll fights right after I switched from base Gilga and was really used to being immune to them and whiffed on towers. So be careful. Um, and then yeah, here you can see I was a little a little out of sync in the moment. I did this almost first thing after getting up, and I just could not get my rhythm down of clicking which order I needed to click these. It's probably my most embarrassing puzzle that will probably ever end up in a video. I could not get my rhythm. It was something about it was just not sticking in my brain, or it was kind of sticking in my brain wrong, something like that. But we got through it together. So for these, you don't have Dragon Resist as Gilgaherk, so I think targeting the Nitties first is still a very good strategy, which is something that you see kind of in all of my videos for the most part. I recommend that. Um, and here I was go because I had all of the attack bonuses, like the double attack up temporary. I might as well target the highest HP thing first, get it out of the way, just in case that drops right away. And that guy can do some debuffs on you, so it's a good idea to clear him out first. The Berserk packs are nothing, clear through them. I do like to kill some occasional strays. You never know when you're going to need more broken statue, and I don't like being in the spot where I hit an ascension level and then I'm really short on some random item that I just could have been getting more of if I would just kill them as I would go. So This is one downside of the 100% collateral damage build, is that for the Pegasus packs, you can end up in situations where the 30% collateral damage on Herc is just not quite enough to kill something, and then you can get it low enough where Mystic Feather is annoying. But just, there's little upsides and downsides to every build. There's, just quirks that you have to keep in mind. And so that's something that I certainly notice here that doesn't really come up in the collateral crits build, just because like everything is hitting for the exact same amount. So you never really have a situation where you're leaving something low like that. But for the most part, still doesn't matter that much. So here, what was going on is I had noticed that I did not have a collateral damage proc. And so I was double checking my gear to make sure that I had 29 adornments, because I just kind of shifted things up. But 11 in the Fey Yeti, 10 in the Greaves is 21, plus 8 in the chest is 29, which is exactly what you need. And so what I was realizing in that moment is that if your chain shield misses, you can't proc collateral damage. And what I mean by that is it seems to proc off the last attack. So if your chain shield gives you a second attack and the second attack misses, then the fact that I have 100% collateral damage doesn't matter. It won't trigger. And that's just a little quirk that I hadn't realized before making this video, but I thought was probably good information. There is, I believe, a bug report that already exists for it. I had checked with Big Yosh. Again, we don't know if it's intentional. Clearly, collateral damage should not proc off of every single attack. But I think we probably assumed that it would proc off one if two attacks miss. But it's clear. It seems somewhat clear that it's programmed to work off whatever the last attack is. And so that was just something I was kind of absorbing mid-recording, and it kind of just shook me for a second. But all right, we're still not at a point where I want to clear all the floors, but I do like to grab all the chests, just keep the puzzle keys up. I like to get all of my buffs that I want before I get to the tower boss, just to make the Ultima strikes go super smooth, super murdery. But I will say, if you're trying out a build like this and you're a little lower ascension level, I would usually have spike 3. I would usually have Spike Shield 3 and Spike Shield 1 as options on my bar. And I would toss those out in certain situations where I didn't think, just kind of like where you're trying to be the most efficient, where you're just like, oh, maybe Chain Shield won't one shot this, I should Spike Shield 3 it. Or if you're trying to get your ward to top off, do a Spike Shield 1. So just little options to keep in mind. I probably would have killed that Pegasus pack, but this build can be a little bit slower for it, and it's kind of trapped by the exit sign, and I don't really want to spend time messing around with it. So still climbing, trying to make this video a little reasonable on length, and so I'm not doing full clears in the 20s as much as I probably would normally. I do like the extra shards, but leaving a 4 floor guardian floor it hurts my soul a little bit. So the other thing with realizing that it triggers off the second attack, it does start to matter which things you target in the Mimics pack. I don't think I'd realize it at this point in the video, but now I'm starting to think that I will target the Mimic first. And so it's being hit with an attack, so that if Chain Shield procs, thing is, at the same time, Chain Shield only procs 60% of the time. It's just kind of annoying if you target the Nitty and then the Chain Shield hits the Mimic and then you just get really crap collateral damage off of it. But I suppose the odds are still probably better that you target the Nitty and then off the off chance that you get a collateral damage, or on the off chance you get a Chain Shield proc and it hits the Mimic, you just kind of have to live with it. But always a good idea. Kill the stuff. Baldur's still a really useful material. So just little things that you start absorbing when you're trying out these different builds is that you just, that what you target first might just shift just a little bit. Oh, if only collateral damage was hitting a little bit harder. I'm really excited for a point where we might have some gear that also raises the damage on collateral damage. I think that it's just going to open up more and more interesting builds. But as you can see, I'm using the Fey Yeti horns, and my horns are not great. They're like 172, and so but it's the 11 slots that really opens up some different builds where it makes it easier to max collateral damage. And I think it's really interesting that this new item, the linkage bristle, not too new, but it's somewhat new, it really can open up old pieces of gear that maybe most people have moved past, but just having the extra slots there, where obviously I could put bristles into my shield, but it's kind of nice that I can leave my shield with the jewels of creation, since I use it in all spiked shield stuff, and I don't always care about having max collateral damage for that, and so that I can get 29 slots out of my legs, chest, and head slot. And so that just kind of works out. So Fey Yeti horns, I keep in mind, I know they're hardened steel, but I think there's reasonable. I think there's good reason to be using them these days. Uh, so again, you just see that this build really blazes through. Oh, by the way, super excited that I get to do a video with my OG favorite sprite. And recently I thought that the shield had wings on it. I thought that that's what the little pixel art was trying to show, but that is not the case. The intention is that they're horns, like actual horns that protrude off the shield. So it's kind of like dude killed a black dragon and then stuck giant horns on the shield, which is really cool for spiked shield builds, because that's just the kind of thing that you would be slamming into someone's face if your primary attack was a shield bash. So I dig it. It just makes the sprite work even better for my style of play. Um, love hitting him with the shield. Show him the shield. That's what I say. So huge shout out to Coven. Great sprites. Love the whole new Crimson array. I might have to actually build that shield at some point to hang it on my wall. What would it look like non-pixel? So we'll see. It might happen. Oh, I skipped my sandworms. I usually kill those every time. I do not like running out of sandstone. So, nice smooth. That makes up a little bit for my really crappy puzzling earlier. That'll be a great standalone video by itself, just on this fitzing with a puzzle too early in the morning. So, and this is one of like these 6 mob packs. Oh man, that is so perfect when you like kill three. That's something that I can't do with the normal collateral crits build. I'm really only killing 2 unless the pet happens to help. And so that's the kind of stuff that just makes you zoom through these towers. So that's I think what you're looking for when you're in a build like this. Wish I was hitting just a little bit harder there, so I could have one shot the fallen too. But still going pretty smooth here. Obviously, you could use something different than the Yimmer charm, but I like to still have the petrify immunity, even though I'm getting stun immunity from the shield. Definitely there, I should not have targeted the Mimic King with the main attack. It would have been better the other way around, because collateral damage is untyped. So if I had targeted the Anubis, that would have been much better. But yeah, it's just so far I'm really liking it. I don't know if I would change the armor slots that much. It would be nice to have be able to round out my defense and resistance a little bit more for climbing, but I don't know exactly how I would do that just yet. Maybe the next time I get Face Surger's Curious, if I can get an ornate one that is a little bit more evened out um, than the Arisen Pumpkin list, but I lose a bunch of hit points. I don't know. We'll have to see. But they're having a hard time finding a 10 slot leg item that is even on both defense and resistance, and still is a good ward item. There's just not a lot that fits all of those different things. So getting some good climbing going. I had this mild moment of irritation where I thought I put my phone on do not disturb, and I'm like, why am I getting notifications? And I'm like, oh, they're notifications from Orna. That's fine. Odie's trying to tell me I completed quests. That's fine. Odie can always let me know what's up. And so pretty hyped for Terra Day. I want to see what that ends up being like. So this is where I was like, okay, maybe I target the Mimic first, and so that I get a better collateral damage proc. And it worked out in that case. Yeah, fuck that puzzle. We're moving on, but I still like my Twilight Stone, so I try to kill these packs in most cases. But it is slightly annoying for this build. But you can kind of get around the Mystic Feather a little bit if you kind of get the right sequence, and you can have collateral damage hit the one that's low on health. That can definitely solve some problems, or at least speed things up a little bit and keep things running the way that you want to, just to get through these towers. And at this floor, I definitely gotta kill everything. I want those shards. And so here, I'm not 100% sure which to target first. Often I'll kill the Gaia, just because I get really annoyed with Mystic Feather interactions as they get low. But I think you would also kill the Leviathan, is a perfectly reasonable starting place. um, get them out of the way. I'm not super worried about killing the deity first, but that's one. If you're a little lower on ascension levels, you might use chain shield for the other stuff, and then when you want to kill the deity, maybe drop spike shield 3 into it. See if it gets you high enough where you can just one shot that guy. Um, Tower guard packs, I'm at a point I really don't prioritize them anymore. I'm up to the point where I'm over 700 tower keys. And so there was only one point in my journey where I was low on tower keys. And there was a point where I was just doing lots of like level 10, level 15, level 20 towers, that sort of thing. And it just wasn't always getting additional keys for those. And so if you're at that point in the game where you're just kind of doing any towers that you can, it's definitely worth finding them and targeting them if you have the chance. Once you cross a certain threshold and you're doing lots of 50 floors, they don't matter that much. But pretty awesome there. Not quite getting it in 2 turns. That would have been sweet. That's probably the stuff that looks the coolest for this build. But I'm a little sad that the Disciple of Finesse doesn't interact better with it. Just the combination of um, collateral damage not triggering the the Disciple of Finesse parting remark. I don't know if that's intentional, but it seems to be that case at the moment. And so I think that's a little thing that kind of hurts this build just a touch. I mean, collateral damage is still great, so if that's intentional, I'm not super worried about it, but it's just a thing to keep in mind for sure. The things that you notice, right? So gotta knock out these last few puzzles before we can get to the top. I remember as I'm starting to do it, I'm like, wait a second, I got a ton of puzzle keys. Let's just move on. Let's move on. I do that all the time because I'm always trying to save and make sure I have a few for the final floors so I don't get held up on something that's gonna waste a bunch of time that I have to go through. And see here, I've learned my lesson. We're just moving on. Yeah. Always happy to get Darkstone and pure Darkstone, so I like these packs. Even though there's been some Reapers just killing my alts in Kingdom Gauntlets, just like 1 turn crit, just one shotting my alts. So they make me a little nervous, but not too bad at Essential 100. So all right, we're getting up there. We got one more floor. I'm always sad when the 49th floor is a single floor guardian. I wish the 49th floor was always a bunch. Gotta get those shards. So cleaving through the nitties. This is the nerve wracking, right? You're on the 49th floor right before the boss. You miss, don't get a chain shield proc, and then you get hit for a bunch right away. I was like, man, am I gonna whiff this video? But all right, well, we got to the end. We survived the nitties. I don't usually use Chain Shield to finish off the tower bosses. I like Ultima Strikes for that. So in this case, I'm just going to switch to Ursa real quick, do my quick Super Murder Ultima Strikes build, and then we're going to kill us a Titan, which I usually just fortify for some extra ward turns since I have starting ward, and I don't usually increasing it beyond 50% for Ursa. And so just a couple of buffs and then get my deific channel, which sometimes only takes 2 turns. Oh, boom, 10 million. Love it. Another 10 million. And some steady hands of Prometheus as a reward. So listeners, Watchers, thank you for supporting all things Ornation. I love you, and I'll try to have some more content for you soon. Enjoy the podcast, enjoy the videos. Later, nerds.